Hey YouTube! So this is iVCS3 and I have tried to do a tutorial for it, but it is really dense and it's hard to get into the right mind frame to do a full tutorial for this because of how complex it is. I start to, just kind of wander around and try to explain things while not necessarily listening to what I'm making happen here. And this is just crazy. Like you're gonna get all kinds of weird sounds, right? Like this. This is some of the weird sounds that I've been making. And if I'm trying to explain things, I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing, and it became a total train wreck. I deleted that. So this is me playing around with the synth with some insightful commentary. It's not a full-on tutorial. If you want to know how to play with this, you should really watch my tutorial videos on modular, which is a good primer on working with signals that are both audio or control signals, because that's what you got right here. You got signal and control inputs, and this is basically a modular synth. It doesn't look like modular because it's got all the modules built in, but it is very modular, and it's got this great mod matrix that's a lot of fun to play with. So this is what I've been up to. It's got some frequency modulation going on from oscillator 1 into oscillator 2, and oscillator 2 is going into a ring mod as well as the filter. So you get a dry signal, which is this, and then there's a ring mod signal that's popping in. And it's a lot of fun. Like, I especially love this reverb. This is just dry, but and it's fun to take some of these signals now and just start feedbacking at places. If you switch over, if you tap this, it switches to the green ones, and the green ones are given the signal at 66%, so that's a good one for when you're going to intentionally screw around hardcore. So I'm going to now take the reverb and plug it into the filter. Whoa, whoops, that was into the reverb. That's still kind of harsh. See, that's awesome! Like, it's just fun to play around with this thing and think about where you want to start throwing signals at. I've got the joystick wired up in several places. So when it's going like this, from left to right, it's controlling the frequency oscillator 1, which is controlling the frequency modulation for oscillator 2. It's like you're actually only ever hearing oscillator 2. And oscillator 2 being ring modded against oscillator 3. So oscillator 1 is getting modulated by this. Now it's going super fast. And then I've also got the reverb mixing is also being controlled by this. You can hear more reverb there. And less reverb there. And the top and bottom are also set up. This is controlling the filter cutoff. And also doing a frequency modulation to oscillator 3. And that is what's going into the ring mod, which is giving us the occasional bloop bloop as the two square waves collide. Let me play around with the frequency modulation some for you. This is a lot of fun to play with FM synthesis like this because it's doing this like old school analog, virtual analog frequency modulation. In fact, you can get some great stuff just taking the square wave. Let me unplug all the other stuff. And I'm going to take the square wave, as you're hearing right now, and plug that right back into itself. Use a white one for that. We can individually tweak the levels from each of these as they're frequency modulating it. So now it's just the standard square. I'm just going to start with a blank slate here. And I'll start off by taking the saw from all of the oscillators and throwing that at the filter, and then the filter at the reverb, and then the reverb to the output. I just noticed that the oscillators have different ranges. Like this goes from 10 to 1, and this one is a much lower frequency. Wow, I had to take it all the way up to like 9 before it's in the audible range. I've been having some weird results with the envelope shaper. Like, it's triggering, right? Like, it keeps going off. I've got nothing set to go into it. But if I try to tell it now to take the envelope signal and control the filter, it doesn't seem to be doing anything, even though the signal is maxed out here. That really should be doing something right there, I think. Sometimes it seems to work fine, and other times it just does not seem to be doing anything for me. Take one of these oscillators and throw it in the envelope and see what happens. Right, that oscillator definitely seems to be... Well, I guess it's not doing anything. So I got this super saw thing, right? I'm gonna take that now and do some more of this feedback stuff. Ooh, there's something that sounds really good somewhere in there. Find which one's doing that. It's this one. That is... It amuses me because it's like this kind of whiny, rubbery sound. Oh, you know what? That envelope is doing something. Why did it start doing something? Yeah, you can tell by the resonance there. You only get that squishy sound when it's doing this. Alright, I'm going to work with this. Try using oscillator 3 as a frequency modulation source for oscillator 1. I'll remove it as an audio source. I'm just screwing around here trying to find something that amuses me. Ooh! I am greatly amused. Alright, let's now bring in the second oscillator and try to do something with that. I'm going to randomly throw different frequency modulation sources at this. Alright, let's hear what that sounds like with the other one. Not great. Oh, you know what? Okay, I got an idea. I'm going to play around with the reverb mixing using another source here. Nah, square was a bad idea. Let me switch that over to the triangle. That's a little too abrasive. Probably too fast. Creating kind of a vibrato effect using a sine wave, just a little bit of sine wave too. Alright, I like that. It's a good basis to start trying to tame. Like it's a good kind of full, rich timbre. So I'm going to switch over here to the joystick now and try to find useful places to stick this. Man, I'm using oscillator 1 an awful lot. I want to tweak it with this. I think that might be a train wreck, so let's see what happens. I'm also going to try to screw around with oscillator 2 some more, but I'm not sure how I want to go about doing that. Let me try direct. I'm making Halloween sounds. I hope that was in any way helpful to anybody. A few good tips of advice, though, was that be really, really careful about what you're throwing into the output, because seriously, you got to watch it. This can get really, really crazy loud. And if you want to use this with Audiobus, you got to go into the back panel here and switch the channels to the mic sampler, and you see it automatically goes into this playback of the sample, and you can screw around with that. But if you switch the mix over to the left and you've got Audiobus connected, the mic will be replaced with an Audiobus symbol, and now whatever you're using in Audiobus, if you've got this in the effect, it'll be usable as an input, and then you just got to make sure that you have your input channels